Hello everyone and welcome to Bear the Cross Productions. Today we're going over Genesis 1 and the story of creation. My name is Hudson and today we're going to be looking at the very first chapter of the Bible and all it has to offer. In the very first verse of the Bible it states that God created the heavens and the earth. Now this is important because we see here that in the beginning there was nothing. The earth was formless and void, and God was the only thing in existence. Many theories today try to prove how the earth came into creation, but in my opinion, there's no real logical way to think about it without God. And in verse 2, it states that the Spirit was hovering over the waters. And then the famous lines, "Let there be light." God created the light, and He separated the light from the darkness. Now, this is an important metaphor because we see it throughout the Bible. See, light and darkness, it's like sin and God. God is in the light and sin is in the darkness. And we want to come to the light, but often we get pulled to the darkness. It's important to see how already in Genesis 1, we see that distinction between light and darkness. Then on the second day, God created the sky. Then on the third day, God separated land from sea. God created the first life. We see plants and grass and trees, all bearing seeds and fruit. And this, again, God said was good. And then on the fourth day, we see another distinction between light and darkness. We see the sun to govern the day, and we see the moon to govern the night. And this, again, God said was good. And then we see the first animals and creatures on earth. God created birds for the sky, and He created fish and sea animals for the ocean. He wanted all of His creatures to grow and inhabit the earth, and God said all of that was good. And then God created all the land animals, all the creatures to roam the lands. Again, He's calling to be fruitful and produce and grow larger in number. He created many different kinds of animals like the ones we see today. It just shows His power and might, able to create all these wonderful animals. And then on the same day, God created humans. Except God created humans in His own image. And in verse 27, it states that God created mankind in His own image. Male and female, He created them. And not only were we created in God's image, but we were also commanded to rule over everything else all over the earth. All the creatures, all the plants, all the animals, everything was to be ruled by humans. And this distinction between humans and everything else God created all over the earth is important to understand. See, what happens when you take fish out of the water? They die. What happens when you take worms out of the land? They die. What happens when you take humans away from God? See, we cannot live without God. God created us to live with Him, live in Him. And He gave us the choice to live with Him or to live without Him. But we need God to survive. He's our life point. And God gave us all the plants and all the animals, all for food over this earth. God created us at the top. We were different than everybody else because we were created in His image. And that was the sixth day. God saw all that He had made and He called it good. Now, in this one chapter alone, we go from absolutely nothing to God creating all that has ever surfaced the face of the earth. God's power allowed Him to will everything you see today into existence, each with their own mind, adaptations, skills, and body. In chapter 1, we see God's might. We see His power in creating everything all over the earth. And who wouldn't want to worship a God that loves us and cares for us, who created us for Him? Again, He created us in His image. So let's rejoice and worship in that. And that God loves each one of you in your own unique way. My name is Hudson, and that was Genesis chapter 1. Next week, we'll be going over Genesis chapters 2 and 3, talking about Adam, Eve, and then the fall. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching Bear the Cross, and I'll see you in the next lesson.